So Shauna, whenever you're ready.
Okay, thanks, Julika. Sure, let's get started. I want to thank you so much for joining us this evening for the Gov Trek 2023 speaker practice session. I'm really pleased to meet everyone. I'm Shauna Rule, Gov Trek Program Director with AAUW California and Public Policy Chair with the San Diego branch. As part of AAUW California's ongoing efforts to create a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive government, we are launching a new virtual statewide program designed to engage young women across California who are high school juniors and seniors, with the goal of elevating a new generation to pursue careers in public service and elected office. I couldn't be more excited for the launch of our new Gov Trek program. In 5 two-hour sessions, students will engage in interactive and inspiring activities with exposure to women legislators, career options, and the inner workings of a political campaign. The program will culminate in a group competition to create a realistic campaign simulation. And it's not just the students who will benefit. This next generation of women leaders will bring with them unique perspectives, life experiences, and diversity that will help all of us create better policy in California. So a quick review of tonight's agenda. We would like to go around the room for self-introductions. It's also an opportunity to test your microphone and your video. We'll cover Zoom suggestions and your technology setup. We'll provide a high-level program overview, which includes student registrations and stats and demographics. We'll review the program and speaker expectations, and then open it up for Q&A. If you're available to meet in a separate breakout room with your panel moderator, Nancy Chu, we can do that as well. So please, let's get started with self-introductions. If you can go to the next slide, we can show all of the speakers that are participating in Gov Trek. It's really exciting, and we're honored to have these leading these leaders and legislators join the Gov Trek program in 2023. I'll start with an introduction, but I'll keep it to 20 seconds or less, since I've already introduced myself. We'd like to go around the room for about 30 seconds and have each of you introduce yourself. I'm Shauna Rule, Microsoft and TD Ameritrade alumni, currently serving as the Executive Director of We Connect the Dots. And we are a technology education and workforce development organization serving underrepresented youth nationally. Through a collaboration with community, education, government, and the technology industry, we provide awareness and education of the 21st century workforce skills, as well as opportunities available to students embracing STEAM careers. Thank you again for agreeing to participate in Gov Trek and for elevating the next generation of women leaders. Nancy, would you like to go next? I think she may have frozen up.
Perhaps it might be good to have someone else, and then we can come back to Nancy.
Okay, Marlene, would you like to go?
Sure, and do let me know about the audio, because right now I'm just on my computer audio, but I do have an external mic I can hook up if necessary. Hi, I'm Marlene Kane. I'm the program director for Speech Trek, AAUW California's annual high school speech contest. And I am also known professionally as an enter-trainer. I enter-train on topics that has helped really thousands of employees in professional skills that last a lifetime. And I'm very happy to be here.
Thanks, Marlene. And I think your microphone sounds fine.
Oh, good. Great. Thank you.
Sure. How about Julika?
I'm Julika Barrett. I'm the office manager here in Sacramento for AAUW California. And I do some of the work behind the scenes with the webinars and our Zoom meetings.
Thank you. Thanks, Julika. Tracy.
Hi, I'm Tracy Remendini, and by day, I'm a high school physical education teacher and coach. I'm part of the Sacramento branch and online branch, and I'm working with Shauna and the Gov Trek committee.
Thanks, Tracy. Nancy, how about,
Can you hear me? I'm not sure I'm frozen or not.
it seems like your video is frozen, but we can hear you.
Oh, great. I'm Nancy Chu. I'm on the committee and I'm a retired lawyer and I'm happy to be part of this program because I really believe in its mission.
Thanks, Nancy. How about Dawn?
Sure. I'm Dawn Johnson, and I'm the chair of the Communications Committee for AAUW California. And I have been working a lot with Shauna and developing materials and working on the program. I'm just here tonight in the background to support any needs you have for chat or provide any links that you need or so on. But other than that, I'm just a background worker tonight. And it's great to meet some of you because I've seen your name on many documents that I've been working on.
It's so humble, Dawn. You're amazing. You're also, aren't you also the VP of AAUW California?
Well, there is no VP. Oh, I am. That's true. I am yes, I am that, but that's not my big role. My big role is communications.
Hillary, thanks for coming tonight.
Definitely so happy to be here and be a part of this program. I apologize for the squealing you might hear in the background. Bath time for kiddos. So husband's taking the lead on that, as he often does. My name's Hillary Nemchik. I've worked in government and politics mostly throughout my career. Was president of Run Women Run for 3 years and served on the board for a total of 7. And that organizational mission was to elect women to public office and to help give them the tools to run. So excited to help share any knowledge that I've gained through these experiences to young women and their pursuit to seek leadership roles.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And we're so glad to have you as part of the program. I think did we get everyone?
I think so.
Looks like it. Okay. So with 118 branches and over 9,000 members statewide, AAUW California facilitates the California branches in meeting the vision and mission of AAUW National by providing programs, education, and resources. We've been empowering women as individuals and as a community since 1881. For more than 130 years, we've worked together as a national grassroots organization to improve the lives of millions of women and their families. The American Association of University Women National is the nation's leading organization advocating equity for women and girls. Its national membership of 170,000 members and supporters seek to advance equity for women and girls through research, education, and advocacy. People of every race, creed, age, gender, sexual orientation, national origin, and level of physical ability are invited to join. GovTrek is AAUW California's new virtual statewide program, as you know, designed to engage young women across California who are high school juniors and seniors with the goal of elevating a new generation to pursue careers in public service and elected office. The learning outcomes of the program include, upon completion of of the program, class participants will have completed a pre and post assessment to evaluate their current knowledge and understanding of careers and politics. Participants will engage in learning about career paths and career journeys from guest speakers and engage in a team competition to create a realistic campaign simulation. The skills gained from the program include participants meeting with peers from across California to sharpen their public speaking skills, write speeches, design political flyers and digital ads, conduct audience analysis for voter outreach, make their college applications stand out, and everyone who participates will receive a certificate of completion. And finally, rewards will be provided to competition winners. So here's a very interesting slide. We are excited to announce that we have 106 diverse young future leaders from across California registered. I'm so excited about this. And just to give you a quick breakdown of the cities that the girls are coming from, where they reside, you'll see the most coming from Elk Grove and the Sacramento area. And for the San Diego leaders, either on the call or listening to the recording, I want to point out that San Diego, although it shows 4, we also have a lot of surrounding areas, right? Like we have Poway and we have, we have Carlsbad and I believe there's a few more in here. So in the spirit of living in San Diego, we have more than 4. So we're right up there close to Elk Grove, if this were a competition. Let's see, so AAUW values diversity and looks for diverse participation in our programs. As you know, Hispanic Californians are the largest racial or ethnic group in the state, making up over 40% of the state population in the 2021 census. We're proud to have close to 35% representation in our participating students. The next slide breaks down the racial demographics of our participating students with a healthy mix of racial categories. And on the following slides, we have some quantitative feedback from our pre-program survey that I mentioned. So 68% of our registrants strongly agree that they want to pursue a career in public service. 46% strongly agree they want to pursue a career in elected office. And 89% like making or strongly agree that they like making a positive difference in their local, state, and national communities. Upon completion of this class, I mentioned the post-assessment to evaluate the pre and post assessment to evaluate their current knowledge and understanding of careers and politics. And so after engaging in our learning program, we hope to increase these percentages. The top 2 degrees that our registrants are interested in pursuing, the first one is law or a legal certification, and the second one is political science. The top 2 career paths registrants are interested in learning about. The top one is the lawyer, and the second is criminal justice. We think that this next data point will be a key indicator of the impact of our program. We asked students, how would you rate your level of understanding of possible careers in public service or elected office? And currently only 29% or so rate their understanding as a 4 or 5 out of 5. We hope to increase these percentages. So that you have the context for the entire program, we'll cover each session quickly. As we stated, we'll offer 5 Saturday sessions, 2-hour sessions, except for the finale and campaign competition, which will be 2.5 hours. In session 1, it will include orientation for the students, a review of their survey results, and in that survey, it'll be one particular question we're focused on where students have identified their top issue that they care about, such as climate change or equity issues or gun control or more and more. We'll do an icebreaker activity for the girls, then we'll move right into our women in leadership panel discussion. At session 2, we include 4 inspiring speakers who will cover Government 101 and how local, state, and federal government really work. Girls will have project time with their campaign teams in Zoom breakout rooms. Then in session 3, our Ready, Set, Live Campaigning 101 session, we will have 3 inspiring speakers deliver sessions on campaign management, messaging and communications, writing your stump speech, and the art of public speaking. Girls will also have project time with their campaign team in Zoom breakout rooms. Session 4 is 100% project time, and session 5 will be a live campaign competition with a special keynote. Then 8 teams who have made it to the final round will engage in a live, will play their campaign videos, and then they will engage in a live Q&A with a panel of industry judges. Winners will be selected and an awards ceremony with prizes for the winners. We would like to invite all of you back to come back to attend the Gov Trek finale. And finally, we would like to review speaker expectations. We encourage you to inspire, educate, and energize our Gov Trek participants. And please provide nonpartisan commentary reflecting fair and democratic ideals. For our panel speakers on session 1, your moderator will be Nancy Chu. And please sign into the Zoom call at 9:45 a.m. if you'd like to hear the introduction to the session, or you can sign in by 10:20 with the panel discussion beginning promptly at 10:30, at which time we'll ask each speaker for a self-introduction. We will ask you to keep those self-introductions to about 30 seconds, and each answer to the panel questions of about 3 minutes. And also, please be sure to share the reason you've chosen a career in public service and what inspires you to make a difference. Your moderator, Nancy Chu, will be reaching out to you individually, and panel questions will be sent to you via email prior to your event. And then finally, for session speakers on session 2, 3, and 2 and 3, your Saturday sessions will begin at 10 a.m. Please feel free to sign in again at 9:45 or 10 minutes prior to your session. I know that we have a lot of speaker slots lined up. So please at least, again, come in at early if you'd like to hear the full session, or 10 minutes prior to your session. And please be sure to introduce yourself and share your career story, because that's what's so inspiring to these young ladies, to see other women leaders in the field. And if you're using a deck, please provide your slide deck to us 1 week ahead of your session. Now, that's not, the slide is not for approval. It's rather so that we can add it to our master deck and keep the sessions on time, so that we're not switching back and forth between decks. So with that, we've covered all the insight and program overview material that we would like to share with you tonight, and we can now open it up for questions from the speakers, and help you be successful at GovTrek.
Hey there, just a quick question in terms of audience engagement. So I assume will we be in like the forget what it's called in Zoom, like the panelist presentation, or will we see all of the participants? Like, how will we kind of facilitate the Q&A aspect of it?
Julika or Dawn, can you answer that?
Well, It depends on how, well, what we had thought about is, it depends if everybody's going to be visible, then we could use the chat for questions,
Okay,
or you could raise your hand, use the reaction icon and just raise your hand, and then who's ever facilitating the meeting will call upon you.
okay. I guess I wondered, so I've been on some Zoom presentations where it's like a level of Zoom where you're the only speaker and you don't like necessarily see the audience engagement as much like as humans on the call. I know that we've done that with Run Women Run when there's like an extremely large audience. So is it going to be that we see all the boxes and we see all the participants?
When we do webinars, we can spotlight somebody.
Okay, so it'll be in the, I guess that's what I was,
Right.
it'll be in
So
the webinar format?
In a webinar setting, we can do that, but in the other sessions with meetings, I don't think we can do that so well with Zoom.
I guess I'm not requesting that. I'm just trying to understand, are we using the webinar for our session or are we using the traditional Zoom setup? That's my question.
We're using traditional Zoom for
Okay.
sessions 1 through 4.
And that includes me?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Great. Just wanted to understand which of the versions I'd be kind of interacting through. No problem.
Got it.
So, and following up on Hillary's question, so because these are pretty brief presentations, about 20 minutes, if I recall correctly, my presumption is that we are not going to allow time. It's not an interactive session. It's us speaking to the audience, no interaction, no leaving time for questions. Is that correct?
Actually, we did decide to add, 3 to 5 minutes for Q&A in your session.
Oh, okay.
It's completely up to you. If you don't want to take questions from the girls, please let us know. But it would be nice if you could allow for 3 to 5 minutes for Q&A.
I will do. Yeah, that's fine. I will do that. And the questions will be coming in the form of chat.
We have originally we had thought we would like the students to send their questions in chat.
Mhm.
But then we decided, I think we went with the decision to allow them to raise their digital hand and we'll call on them.
Okay, so the facilitator will be the one recognizing them and they will ask the question of the speaker.
When you say facilitator, do you mean the moderator or do
The
you mean?
moderator, yes.
Yes, you won't have to do that. Yeah, that'll be
Right.
too complicated, right?
Right,
It could be.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Definitely,
So
we'll
allow
take care of
45
that for
minutes.
you.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's good to know.
If I might maybe make one suggestion, and I don't want to complicate anything, but in an effort to like have as much engagement as possible,
Mhm.
I wonder if perhaps we could call on people and ask them to put it in the chat. And if we get to the chat questions, we can, and perhaps like the speakers could even get into the chat and start answering some of those or providing resources just to like have as much engagement as possible.
I like that idea. I think there was a concern with going back and forth, between chat or calling on girls or looking for girls that had their digital hand up. But let me ask Julika, because she's our meeting and webinar expert. Can we get a copy of the chat from a Zoom meeting, or is that just webinar?
Well, you can save the chat. Yes, you can. But what you're asking is the flow of the meeting. And sometimes in the webinars, the speakers will see the questions because we'll use the Q&A function there. And they'll see the questions and then they'll say, I can answer that. And then, so it's more of a conversation as the questions come up, and we don't have to stop and say, who would like to address this? Or so I think you're going to have to see what works best for you in the flow of the meeting and make that decision.
I'm thinking that with 100 folks in the audience, 100 students, it's going to be difficult to spot gold hands,
Mhm.
Was the goal of calling on people individually to give them the opportunity to like have a speaking moment and engage? Because
Yes.
I like that, and I think
Mhm.
that's valuable. I guess I just think we could do both, where we
Mhm.
prioritize like answering the questions that are asked verbally, and then we could say, if there's time, if you have questions, put them in the chat and we'll get to them as we go. Or like, I could try to type up answers. I'm not sure if the session like ends right away, or if there's some, I don't know what the communication after the event will be, but if there's like some questions that were relevant, perhaps I could take those with me and maybe write an
Mhm.
email to them afterward.
Um, I think that you could respond to some of those questions. Um, I'm trying to think here. So the speaker following you is Marlene.
Uh-huh.
And so during her session, you could be responding to students.
Yeah, I don't want to distract from her session, kind of bleed into the next one. So I guess, I don't know, like, let's just perhaps, and I could say this, and I don't want to add additional work to anyone's plate, but I could say it during my speeches. We're going to call on a few folks who have questions, so please raise your hand if there's time. And if you would like to put your question in the chat, we'll try to get those too, but we may not have time, just something like that.
Right,
Okay.
and we can, like you say, we can save the chat and distribute it. We do that after the webinars too. We print out the Q&A, and then, because we can't answer everything during the meeting, and then
Mhm.
the speakers can take their time and respond, and then we share the responses to the question, like, like a FAQ document afterwards.
Mhm.
And one last question about the Q&A. Do you prefer it after your session, Hillary and Marlene, or throughout?
Because our time is limited, my thought is at the end.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would agree.
In fact, what I would like to do, just as a purely speaking technique, is to answer any questions and then conclude.
Okay,
It's more powerful that way, I think, for them.
got it.
Because what
Okay.
I'm trying to do is also model for them.
Exactly. Mhm. Okay. And you're a public speaking expert. So we'll take
That's
your
what,
advice.
that's what they say.
Indeed.
Shauna, I wanted to let you know, Kathy Van Austin has joined. I apologize. I was having computer problems, so
Hi,
I'm on by
Kathy.
phone. Hi.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you for joining. We had already gone through our slides and program overview and some stats. Did you have any particular questions about the panel discussion, since you're a panelist on January 28th? No. I think you're on mute.
Sorry about that. I don't usually do these on my phone. Yeah, I don't really think so. I guess one question I have is who will be moderating the panel?
Nancy Chu,
Nancy, okay.
and she's on the call right now. Mhm.
Yeah, I saw her on there.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think I'm good to go. I don't have any questions.
Did
Catherine,
you? Oh, go ahead.
Catherine, I will be calling you because I am calling the panelists so that we could be a little bit coordinated in terms of covering the various topics that would be nice for the panel to cover
Okay,
and not have too much repetition.
that sounds fine.
And actually, while I'm here and we've got different voices, one of the things about having the panel, which would be a little different from the other sessions, is that we will be covering careers and positions outside of a political campaign, because I think the other speakers in the other sessions will thoroughly cover how to be a campaign manager and run a campaign and whatnot. So in the first session, there will be panelists that will perhaps cover some of the other aspects of public service and elected positions that may be different.
Okay.
Shauna, is Nancy also, or Nancy, are you also the moderator for the
No,
February 12th?
I'm only the moderator for the panel. On the
Oh, okay. So Shauna, who's the moderator for the February 25th session?
That would be me.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yep. Looking forward to it.
Me too.
I'm also planning to kick off the event on day one. So, and then we'll hand it off to Nancy after the icebreaker activity for the girls. When they come back from their Zoom breakout rooms, it will go right into the panel and we'll hand it off to Nancy.
Okay. And is Marlene the final speaker on that day? It sounded like I was. There's 4 or 5 speakers. Is that right? Or 3?
Let me double check. I'm looking at our syllabus. You are the last speaker.
The last of 3?
Correct. Mhm.
Okay. So when I'm done, do you want me to throw it back to you?
Yes, please, because then they'll go into a breakout room again.
Okay, great. So I'll throw it back to you by, I'll use your name, and when I'm done, I'll throw it back to you.
Thank you. Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay, so I think if there are no more questions, there is something. Julika, you were going to review some Zoom best practices, like getting, downloading the latest version and.
Right. Some of the things that we found over the years, that last couple of years that we've been using Zoom, that are very helpful. And one of them, since we have had occasions, unfortunately more than a few times, where people lose their video. So when you first get into the meeting, it's good to note the phone number that you have to call into if you lose your video, because you can continue to do the presentation, especially if you have your materials with you, print out of your materials. And so you want to make sure that you get the phone number, the meeting ID, and the participant ID. And then the other thing is to be sure and keep yourself muted, because there's always background noises. We've had situations where somebody walks into the room and then we hear the conversation. So just make sure that you're muted until you have an opportunity to speak. As Shauna mentioned, you want to make sure you have the latest version of Zoom so that we're all on the same page. We don't have technical difficulties. And then we talked a little bit about how questions will be handled. And I'm sure that conversation, Shauna, is going to evolve when Sandy comes back and you're starting to prepare for the other meetings, the best way to handle questions and answers. And then other than that, I think, Shauna, you mentioned people joining in 15 minutes before, just to make sure you have a good sound check, video check, especially if we continue to have storms. There's power outages and all kinds of stuff going on. So those are basically some of the suggestions that we have for you.
Thank you. Hey, Julika, so just so I'm clear, maybe I missed it, forgive me if I did. When we have our AAUW state, meeting, I've been a presenter, and we don't see anybody, we just speak to the camera. There's no, is it the same way for Gov Trek, do you think?
Well, it's the difference between using the meeting format and using the webinar format. So the annual meeting takes advantage of a lot of other features. So I think some of those things will have to be worked out.
Okay, so we're not sure yet whether we'll see folks or we won't see folks. I mean, the audience or not see the audience.
So it's up to Shauna. Have you thought about that in terms of how you want everything to display?
Just curious. Yeah.
I think we should see the audience. I didn't know that you had a choice in a Zoom meeting. In a webinar, I understand that you don't see the audience, but in a meeting, you see everyone. Isn't that correct?
I think it depends on how they set up the view part of it, because you can set it up so that it follows the speaker or the host. In other words, how the host presents it, that's the way everybody sees it. So I think that's a conversation to have with Sandy.
Okay.
The best way to do that in the meeting format, and how she has it set up too.
So like pinning the speaker. got it. Okay.
however that works, yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
I see what you're saying. Okay, so we'll talk to Sandy about that. I think if she can bounce back and forth, it would be valuable. I mean, I'd rather see, I think the girls will get a lot of energy from seeing everybody. I feel that they will. There's like how much participation we have in the classroom and all the other girls. But then when we have our speaker sessions, we should pin those speakers as the one video feed. That's how I would like to see it. But we'll talk to Sandy because she's done so many of these. She can make some good suggestions.
And Shauna, one last question. As far as a slide deck, I can provide it or not provide it. What is your preference?
If you're going to have a slide deck, please, can you provide it a week ahead of time? So that
Right.
was that your question?
Not really.
Okay.
Well, again, it's a brief presentation. I'm thinking it can't be a great number of slides. I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe 20 at most. I don't know. But anyway, if I do provide you with slides, who will be running the slides?
That will be the person that,
It'll be the technical host.
thank you.
The host.
Right,
Okay.
because and mainly we do that because it reduces delays.
Right. No, I understand. I'm very familiar with that, having done it with you guys
Right.
before.
Right.
Okay, I will take a look at it. Okay, thank you.
Sure. And are there any other questions or concerns?
No, you've done an incredible amount of work already. It's going to be great.
Yeah, looking
It is.
forward to it.
Me too. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. 106 girls.
106?
Uh-huh.
That's great.
Can
That's great.
we can show you maybe if we can back up to the